Welcome to this video. I'm Joseph Okewa, and today we want to continue with mingling faith with facts. Today we want to look at managing facts. Now, when you have that conviction that you have to succeed, one of the team players or a particular team in a particular country once made their theme like this: you must first believe if you want to succeed. And that is a necessary requirement or a necessary matter when it comes to being great. Now, the partner to it, or the second side of the coin, is facts or managing the facts. How do you manage facts that actually makes you to be informed despite the fact that you have the convictions that you will succeed? The first thing to do if you want to manage facts: number one, gather facts. Number two, evaluate facts. Number three, get feedback. Number four, look at the feedback. What we are saying there, reflect on the feedback. And number five, grade the feedback. And number six, feed forward. Now let's look at the first one, gather facts. Now when I talk of facts, I'm looking at the data that will inform your movement from merely being good to being great. And that data is what you get. It's a data about the support you need and a data about the root causes of the problems that you face. The moment you have the two sets of data, the sources of that data will be either, number one, your learning outcomes, number two, your background, and number three, your experience. Now, when you talk of your learning outcomes, I'm talking about three other aspects. Number one, I'm talking about your compliance results. Number two, I'm talking about your mastery results. And of course, number three, I'm talking about what is the things that make you succeed based on the facts that you have. Now, the first thing, when you talk of compliance results, I'm referring to the test of your integrity. You have integrity if you can ascertain that you are a person who is accountable, you are a person who is competent, and you are a person who has ethics. That is when you say you have integrity. Now you measure that integrity, it shows whether you are compliant to the trait of being a great person. Now, the second thing here we are looking at is maturity. Can you work well in a team? Now, we looked at the traits of team members that make them successful in the previous video. And number three is abundance mentality. Do you have that abundance mentality? Do you always want win-win for everybody? Or you are selfish, you want a win while others are losing? If you have those three, then your compliance test results is positive. Then let's look at mastery tests. There are various ways of collecting data that test mastery. Of course, there are various test scores that are used to collect that data. But the thing is, we'll be looking at, are you putting in more effort that is sufficient and equivalent to your potential? Are you putting more grit? Is it that you are persisting? Are you capable of persisting despite difficulties? Are you having a deliberate practice? That way we will be sure that at least you are moving towards mastery. And of course, looking at whether you are someone who performs better based on your background is also very important. Now, when you go to the sources of data with regard to your background, we are basically looking at what is the time that you have. Do you have an available time for that? That's a background that is enough. Or is what you're doing timely? Number two, do you have the resources? Can you access the resources that will enable you to perform the task that you want to do as a person who wants to do something? That is a fact that you need to unearth. Do you have the strengths? What are your strengths? Collect data on your strengths so that you see whether you can manage it. Do you have the correct aspirations? What are your aspirations, career-wise or otherwise? Those aspirations will inform your background. Now, when we go to your experience, the data on your experience, you need to collect data based on how the people are rating you, the people who are closer to you. Can you do something that, do you have a history that shows that you have done it before? Do people have good history with you? Do you have that credibility? Is it that the people around you rate you positively, your teachers, your peers? And how do you rate yourself? Now, those are the aspects that you need to collect data on. You collect them by measuring. You collect them based on historical facts. You collect them by survey. Those are means by which you gather data. Now, after gathering data, you need to evaluate them. Against what parameters are you evaluating this data? You evaluate data based on what I call scars or cars. The first thing is credibility. Is it believable? If it is believable, then that data is correct. Number two, accuracy. Is it something that is true? Is it something that is factual? Is it something that is detailed enough? That is accuracy. Number three is it reasonable? Reasonableness. Is it something that is fair? Is it something that is objective? Is it something that is moderate? Is it something that is consistent? Those are the things you look at when you're looking at the reasonableness. And then look at the support. Is it something that can be corroborated? Those are the facts you need to come up with when you're talking about evaluating your data. Now, step number three, we said, is that you have to get feedback. Now, let me tell you that feedback is not grade. Feedback is more than grade. It is a statement of how you are faring on well in a particular aspect of life. That is what we call feedback. Now, the thing is, if you get facts, that feedback, you get it from either yourself. That feedback, you can get it by evaluating yourself. You can get that feedback by engaging your peers to evaluate you. You can get that feedback by engaging your mentors and even your teachers to evaluate you and give you the results. You can get feedback by engaging your clients. In other words, we are saying a 360 degrees approach to feedback is desirable. Now, the moment you found feedback, feedback, if it is a test you've done, it should be explaining what you've done well and what you've not done well, where you have weaknesses. It should be detailed. It's not just saying very good. That is not enough feedback. I'm good at what? And where did I have challenges? Those are the aspects you have to look at when you are looking at feedback. Now, once you have found feedback, the next thing is you have to reflect on the feedback. How do you reflect on the feedback? It's a kind of a cycle. You do something. Then you ask yourself, what did I do and how did I do it? Then you ask yourself, what have I learned from what I've done and how I've done it? Then you ask yourself, how can what I've done and how I've done it help me to do other things that are related to this? So you are moving it. You are reflecting on the data, on the feedback that you have. Now, what we are saying is that when you are looking at evaluating or reflecting on feedback, it should be something that you do internally. You can do it yourself. Reflect on it. Reflect on that feedback. It's something that can be done with the aid of others. You can help others. You can brainstorm so that you get feedback. At the same time, you reflect on it. It involves thinking. You have to think about it, and you have to be very objective and true to yourself as you think about the feedback. The moment you have reflected on the feedback, you have to grade the feedback. Now, grading the feedback, there are people who like using Likert scale, scale of 1 to 5, so that you know whether your performance is somewhere closer to excellence, where 5 represents beyond expectation, 4 represents meeting expectation, 3 means average, 2 means below expectation, 1 means very poor. Those are some of the things that have been used, and we have various ways of grading feedback. In academics, of course, they grade based on the grades A, B, C, D, E, and so forth. Some even use F. So grading feedback is just to summarize the reflection on the feedback. Based on that reflection, now we are grading it. What are we talking about? What level have we reached? It's a summary of the reflected feedback. Now, the moment you have graded the feedback, you feed forward. Use that feedback to help you solve another problem. Now, the thing is, when we are grading feedback, before we feed forward, the grading should be such that you are given a multiple chance. A grading system that works should be that which gives you a multiple chance so that you can improve from one aspect to another. Now, the other thing that should be true about grading is that you don't just grade the results, you grade the outcome plus the improvement. The outcome plus the improvement, not just the outcome alone. The aspect of improving should also be graded. And also, the other thing is that you factor in going an extra mile. That's why we were talking about the Likert scale, where 5 means beyond expectation. Now, when you are feeding forward now, after you have actually graded the feedback, feeding forward would require that you actually use that feedback in one area to sort an issue in another area. So that feedback helps you to sort an issue that is maybe novice to you, or where you are a novice, but you can use that skill that you've gained in that feedback to help you solve another issue. In fact, it is basically you are trying to say you are accessing what you have experienced in the previous session to help you to solve a new issue that is coming up in a new session. So basically, that is how we manage facts. We manage facts. Number 1, you gather facts, as we have said. Number 2, you evaluate the facts. Number 3, you get feedback from the facts. Number 4, you reflect on that feedback. And then number 5, we said you grade the feedback. And number 6, you have to feed forward. Use that feedback. In fact, someone said a real leader will face the music even if he doesn't like the lyrics. That's what I was saying. You know, you like saying that I'll improve. Fine, you'll improve. But the facts are saying, the facts we have, I'll improve is a faith, is a conviction. But you have to mingle it with the fact that you are somewhere below that needs improvement and work out on how you are going to improve. Successful governments have won battles because they understand how to mingle faith with facts. Mingling faith or having faith alone without mingling it with facts will be a problem to you, because you will find that that belief does not coincide, or you are not working towards that conviction that you will succeed. So next time, make sure you work on your facts, work on the data. Statistics, they don't deceive. They are real and they are factual. They give exactly what is on the ground. Mingling that with a conviction that you will succeed is something that you need to put into practice. Until we meet in the next video, bye-bye, and remember to subscribe to our channel. Thank you, and may God bless you.